She gonna get
But
Ebola on monkeypox.
They so out of touch. Oh,
Kissing the damn ground. That's worse than kissing your dog in the mouth. That's some nasty shit. Donald, be best. Nah. When the Republicans say stuff like this, people probably think, oh, it's going to the individual people. It's like, here's a check. No, motherfuckers.
Welcome back to the Pragmotiv podcast, where every week we tell it like it is and get you motivated to be the change you seek. It's your boy Trey.
And Steph.
It's Cameron.
And welcome to episode 2. So today's theme, guys, is let's leave it up to the states. Question mark. So for today's show, we're going to be exploring that old Republican talking point about how it's better if everything is just left up to the states. Just get rid of the federal government and let each state fend for itself. And while it is true that a lot of the power in our country comes from the fact that we're basically a collection of 50 different little countries plus our territories, we can't forget about them, even though they are forgotten by the government in lots of ways.
Mm-hmm.
That's another topic for another show.
Yep. It's important to highlight why we need the federal government and how important its role is. And that is what we're going to be covering today. So we're also going to be talking about Jeff Bezos' rocket and Wendy's versus Katy Perry, as well as the devastating cuts to NOAA and the National Weather Service, the TikTok drama, and more. So let's get started. So, did y'all hear that Trump says he wants to abolish FEMA and the Department of Education and leave it up to the state?
Mm-hmm.
So basically, there's going to be some smart states and some dumb states. And then there's going to be some states that's still intact. And then there's going to be others that's
Devastated.
fucked up.
Right.
Because them hurricanes going
So-
biggity bounce their ass all the way.
And it's funny how it's funny how that's the red states that's going to be fucked up the most by this.
Yeah, so why he want to abolish FEMA? So what did FEMA do? All FEMA tries to do is help people during disasters.
Well,
You want to take FEMA's money and do a tax cut? That's why he wants to abolish it?
well, they had a lot of misinformation going around that them idiots was saying, FEMA was giving money to immigrants and not giving money to American citizens.
Not true.
And all kinds of crazy shit like that. So, Rolling Stone had this powerful article about the dismantling of FEMA and what that would really mean for the United States. Rolling Stone reports misinformation about FEMA funding being sent to support migrants caught on in particular.
Mm-hmm.
Since 2019, during Donald Trump's first term, Congress has additionally tasked the agency with reimbursing local and state governments for sheltering migrants. On social media and from the mouths of politicians, this was twisted to imply that the agency was supporting this population at the expense of disaster survivors in need. Several Republican members of Congress echoed this misinformation, despite the fact that the funding program in question was created under their watch, as did Donald Trump. So they caused the problem,
Right.
and then cried about the problem.
Yeah, but so
Which
first of all, nobody was
It's not a
taking
problem.
monies away from citizens to give to. If you're asking people to come into this country, or you're giving people work visas, migrant workers, those are the people that's keeping the food.
If they
rolling in the country.
undocumented.
I mean, nobody else is out there picking oranges and whatnot,
Nope.
Yeah. And y'all wouldn't want to do that
and
anyway.
they're not gonna do it.
And they proven that they're not going to do it.
So what do they want him to do? Just they want to just let these. Oh, you can't have any help at all. Is
But
that
the thing is,
what
if
they're
they
proposing?
undocumented, how is anybody getting the money to them if we don't know they here? If they undocumented,
This is
what
they
it
say.
was a reimbursement
Probably
for
to the
the
local
states
governments.
for putting them up.
Yeah.
If a hurricane or wildfire or whatever comes through and they need a place to stay, then they were reimbursing the states for what the states spent.
Yeah.
It wasn't giving money
Yep.
at
It
the
didn't go
expense
to-
of citizens.
when the Republicans say stuff like this, people probably think, "Oh, it's going to the individual people." It's like, here's a check. No, motherfuckers.
No.
The money ain't going nowhere near them. It's going to the state governments. It's going to the cities that house them.
Yep.
I mean, y'all sure didn't mind spending money on the migrants, so y'all was busting them and flying them to Martha's Vineyard
Nah.
and shit.
Nah. So Rolling Stone goes on to say, for the first official trip of his second term, Donald Trump went to North Carolina in late January to survey the ongoing recovery efforts. While there, he re-upped his criticisms of the agency, this time floating fundamentally reforming or overhauling FEMA, or maybe getting rid of FEMA. Since then, members of his administration have frozen FEMA funds and programs, fired more than 200 FEMA employees, and rescinded grant money the agency had approved and allocated to New York City, actions that have placed FEMA in the epicenter of debates and legal cases over federal spending and executive authority over agencies.
So I think that's a combination of him being petty and retaliatory, as well as them just trying to kill federal agencies, which is what he's done basically for the first 100 days that he's been in office. It's just like you taking a meat cleaver to the underpinnings of the federal government.
Yeah.
And once you do that, you just, all it's going to do is weaken us as a country.
Yes.
And so goes the United States. So goes the rest of the world.
So he went on, and as a plug, you guys, if y'all want to hear about what would happen if the United States fell and what would happen across the world, tune into Pragmotiv Plus. You can subscribe at pragmotivplus.com. That's what we're going to be talking about on today's episode. So getting back to what we're talking about now, the thing that's crazy to me is he wants to say, well, it'll be better run if the states do it because it's local and the states know their people better and know what they need better.
It's already bottom up from the states.
Exactly.
Nothing gets declared. You don't get federal government assets, resources, unless your governor asks for it.
Exactly.
And
here it's the parish, which is the county, everywhere else in the country. So your parish has to ask for it, or your county asks for it, and then your governor, and then it gets to the president, which is how it should be. But you're talking about taking federal funding from FEMA. So when the hurricanes come, you're not going to get anything. And I already
because the
think that
states
FEMA
cannot
isn't
handle
giving
that.
enough to people, but that's another
Just
conversation.
look at what he doing to old Crooked Eye. Sarah Huckabee Sanders in Arkansas.
Cyclops Eye.
She been asking for help,
She has been asking for help.
and he told her no.
And he said no. Now, I know that she said she was going to appeal. I'm like, okay, fucking
So
FAFO.
what was his reason for saying no?
I don't really know. I didn't really
So
delve
you
into
kissed
it.
his ass. You were his White House
Press
press
secretary.
secretary.
Yes.
And
you
now
got hit
you're the
by
governor
a whole
of a
bunch
state.
of tornadoes.
Right. And he said, fuck you.
Yeah. And it ain't
So
even
that's
his
how you
money.
learn.
That's the difference.
It's not even his money. He act like it's coming out of his pocket.
California
Well, he think it is because he think he's the king.
California can fare without federal help because they put more in
Right.
than they take.
And I bet
But Arkansas don't put shit in. They just take. Same with Mississippi, same with Louisiana.
Yes.
And
So speaking of that, I'm glad you said that. I took the liberty to do some research because it was interesting to me because Governor Gavin Newsom, the governor of California, has been in the news lately talking about how much California gives to the federal government and how they don't get anything in return, basically, compared to the other states. So I said, since most people might not know, the state government, local government, all of these budgets are public information. So you can go find it to see what your local governments are spending. So I went to go see, I picked a few states, popular states across the country to see, what their budgets was. And California, $468 billion in annual revenue. 28% is from the federal government. Texas, $207 billion in annual revenue. 38% is from the federal government. So a whole 10% more, which is crazy to me because Texas and California is kind of rivaling each other when it comes to population.
Yeah.
Texas has more land to be, to develop and spark industry. And that's what I think a lot of people want right now. Like if you are in your late 20s, early 30s, and you're looking to buy a house, most of us would want probably a new house in a nice new neighborhood. And places like Texas offer that, whereas in California, the house would cost like,
who knows,
probably three
Millions
times
of
as much, and it wouldn't be as big.
Probably 10 million.
And you wouldn't have no backyard. So the bang for your buck goes further in Texas. So because of that, I would say they have a better case for development. So why aren't you getting the tax revenue from that?
Yeah.
Why are you relying on the federal government 10% more than California? So then we go on to New York. New York, $259 billion in annual revenue, 38% from the feds. So just like Texas. And then Florida, $135 billion in annual revenue, 40% from the feds. And then Louisiana.
Should we hide our faces?
$40 billion in annual revenue. We ain't even cracking 100. 50% from the federal government.
Thank you, Wish.com, King Candy.
What?
Oh
That went over my head.
You go.
Oh, you gotta see Wreck-It Ralph. You gotta see.
You're gonna get in trouble like Jasmine Crockett did.
Oh, fuck them.
Hot Wheels.
Oh, we're gonna talk about that later. Oh, did we talk about that? I don't remember.
So-
We talked about that in the last episode.
Yeah.
I'm saying it again. I
So
still
if
call
they
it
left
bitch
it
wheels,
up-
and I will call him wheels. I don't care.
If they left it up to the states, these states that you just mentioned,
Yes. So y'all look at this map on the
fucked up.
screen. The darker the state, the more it relies on federal government. The lighter the state, the more money it gives to the federal government. So I want to ask y'all, do y'all think if next month your budget had to be cut by 28
38.
to 38, no, 28 to 50%,
Yeah.
can you survive without changing your lifestyle?
Nope. And fun fact, you see this map here? Look at Kansas. Kansas is a state that routinely votes for Donald Trump or the Republicans in general on the federal level. And look at them. Look how light they are. They don't take a lot from the federal government. In fact, they give. But guess who's the governor of Kansas? A Democrat.
Nah.
Nah, ain't that a bitch?
One thing that just popped into my mind that I would wonder, and I wish I could delve into it deep, but it would take so much time, is I wonder if Louisiana is the most reliant on the federal government. Like, are they factoring in federal aid from disasters? I wonder if that plays a part in it.
I don't know.
But then
I don't
again,
know.
California with the wildfires
Yeah.
Right.
should
So
be right
that's
up
not-
there.
yeah.
So
And Texas gets hit by hurricanes, and
Yeah.
so no, it's not that. They just Louisiana, and it's a whole ball of wax that we could talk about with
Yep.
Louisiana, with
Maybe
them
if
having,
you stop handicapping your biggest city.
or maybe if you would ask some of these corporations to chip in more and
These oil
restructure your
companies, we don't.
whatever it is that makes corporations, like Texas gets more out of the corporations that's located there, especially like the oil companies and the chemical
I
companies.
think it has to do with their property taxes that they pay. And I think here you get discounts.
Yeah.
And
yeah,
there
they,
you don't.
they just give so much incentive, and you're not. It's not fair. It's like the identical size plant in Texas to Louisiana. It pays way more to the state of Texas than the same company, ExxonMobil, running the same similar plant.
Whoever negotiated that. Negotiated their draws away.
Yeah, Louisiana just you balancing everything on the back of your citizens when you should be making the corporations again pay their fair share.
Yes.
You're making all this money.
But
These
they
obscene
pay
profits
wanna-
every quarter.
For
They
being
want to tell
welfare.
people what they can and can't buy with their food stamps, but yet they don't mind giving these blank checks of corporate
that was
welfare.
something I read yesterday about how the governor here is saying you can't buy. I think it was
Soft
Candy and
soft
soda.
drinks and candy. Like really? So now parents can't get candy for their kids? Like I guarantee.
So no
you,
Easter,
I
no
promise
Halloween.
you, nobody was spending even, I don't know, 10% of their fucking food stamps on candy.
No.
So you're just making them not be
You
able
don't really
to
care about those children's
No,
well-being.
They don't care.
Don't
They
care.
they care about when they in the moon, but once they out, they don't give a shit.
And that's a problem. Big problem. So, yeah, I would just say, I guess this answers the question of the show right here in block 1. No, you can't just leave it
Leave
up
it
to the states.
states. No.
They don't have enough motherfucking money.
It all goes back to money.
It always goes back to money.
All right, so now moving on to the briefing room. Let's say moving into the briefing room. Moving on to the briefing room. So this week in the news, an American citizen was arrested in Florida under a suspended Florida immigration law. So here's the story.
Lawsuit. I sue the fuck out of the fuckhead.
So, an American citizen was arrested in Florida under suspended Florida immigration law. The story is in Miami, was in the Miami Herald. Mm-hmm. Miami Herald reports, in an apparent defiance of a federal court ruling, a Florida Highway Patrol trooper arrested a Georgia man in North Florida under a new state law that targets undocumented immigrants who enter the state illegally, though it turns out the man is a U.S. citizen. Now, I don't understand how you enter a state illegally from another state in this country. We can go freely within all 50 states.
I mean, the way it's worded, it sounds like that's what
That's
they're
why
saying.
it was suspended.
But they made a law that said that if you come into the country illegally, then if you pass from any state into Florida, that's illegal. So they were trying to, I guess, well, not I guess, they were trying to target people who were here and, came in, I guess, snuck in over the border. Well,
Now, if you're gonna do all that, then
fix
make
the
sure you
immigration
ain't.
system.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the article,
Congress.
Make sure you ain't messing with citizens because it's our right to travel around this bitch how we fucking feel. So no, you will not be stopping us from living our lives. So this bullshit. You look for the migrants. If you want to do that shit, then go right the fuck ahead. But you leave us alone.
So Miami Herald goes on to say that Juan Carlos Lopez Gomez, 20, was arrested Wednesday under a new state law that makes it a misdemeanor for an undocumented adult who came to the United States without checking in with border authorities to enter Florida, according to a police report. But a federal judge in Miami had already blocked the state from enforcing that law through at least April 18th, saying the statute is likely unconstitutional because it infringes on federal immigration authority. There is a statewide injunction against anybody enforcing that law, said Paul Chavez, litigation director at Americans for Immigrant Justice, and an attorney in a federal lawsuit challenging the state. The court order is very clear, he says. Lopez Gomez was released and reunited with his family on Thursday night after being detained for over 30 hours at the Leon County Jail in Tallahassee.
Right.
We need the body camera footage, and he needs to sue, and that cop needs to be arrested for violating the court order.
You have to buy camera footage in public?
No, you have to. Somebody would have to send a
FOIA.
FOIA request.
Oh, okay.
I mean, if the man had a state-issued ID, so apparently now law enforcement can ignore
body
state-issued.
Oh, the body camera. Okay, I was about to say, you said buy. I'm sorry, go ahead.
You thought he said buy the camera?
No, I thought he said he needs to buy the...
Buy the camera?
Yeah.
Oh,
Y'all.
Mandola accent sometimes.
Why I'm messing up this show?
To buy the camera. Ain't no messing up the show. We talking. But really, so apparently law enforcement can ignore a state-issued ID now. The man had a Georgia driver's license.
Which I think is ridiculous. Because I did take the liberty to look this up because
Yeah, and I didn't know that.
I have not traveled outside of the country. So I don't have a passport.
Right.
And I thought about getting a passport, and then I saw the price, and I was like, I ain't
No,
fucking
fuck that.
traveling outside the country. I don't need to pay $300 for a passport. But now they're saying your social security number doesn't determine whether or not you're a citizen. And I didn't know that.
The fuck it don't.
Well, apparently they give social security numbers to people who are non-citizens,
right, who are
in
working
certain
to
instances.
work.
Well,
You gotta have a social security number.
We're charging them. Now, how ironic.
Yeah,
You don't want to
they're
be
paying
here, but you'll
taxes.
take their taxes.
Taxation without representation.
Right. You won't let them become citizens because a lot of the times they block it. It is so gummed up, the process for becoming a citizen. But you're taking their money and you're not representing them. I think, didn't we fight a war for that?
That's the whole reason as to why this country is here.
Hello, the Tea Party. And not the modern day one.
They so hypocritical.
Yeah, the hypocrisy
are.
really is real.
They really are.
Okay, so there's been discussions about not needing to do due process.
Oh, yeah. Don't get me started. I could go all night on this subject.
The president claims that, it's too much. It's too much work, if we do that. It's going to take so much time to go to court.
Oh, yeah. And like he said on
Okay, well
Meet
then
the
4
Press.
years is too fucking long. Get your ass out now, bitch. Fuck the process. Get your ass out.
So
What he said on Meet the Press Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
Which,
Yeah, that's a whole nother thing that we're gonna have to get into on the next episode to unpack that fucking hot mess of an interview. But
So my thing is they want to deport. You're going to deport the workforce that's the backbone of the country. What are you going to do for the industries that need that labor? That is a
want us to
real...
Bitch.
Yeah.
No, we ain't doing it.
yeah, like them.
But really, seriously, we cannot physically
no,
do that work. People who do that work, their body is used to doing that work.
and expertise matters.
Yeah.
Like they know how to do that. So here's why due process matters. Because I realized, and one thing we want to do on this show is a lot of the time when you might be reading about these things or you hear about them, people use words like due process and they don't really explain what it is. And, you might be listening in passing, so you might not feel like going to Google and looking it up. So here's what due process means. Due process in the United States means that the government must respect all the legal rights owed to a person under the law. It's basically a protection against unfair treatment by the government. You'll find it specifically mentioned in the Fifth Amendment for the federal government and the 14th Amendment for state governments in the Constitution. That is. It says no one can be deprived of life, liberty, or property without due process of the law. So there are two main types of due process. The procedural due process are the rules and steps fair? Like getting a fair trial before being punished, which obviously I think every person in this country should want that. You shouldn't want your neighbor to say, I saw you stealing.
Yeah.
And then and then somebody come and get you because so and so said they saw you stealing. Well, what if so and so is lying?
Uh-huh.
Or what if so and so is mistaking you for somebody?
Yeah.
As if that don't happen already with law enforcement.
Or just with regular Karens out there in the wilderness.
Right? And due process is a right for everyone, not just citizens. It's for everyone that's on this soil.
Yeah.
That is what our country is built on. And it's one of the reasons why the country is already great.
Yes. So substantive due process are the laws themselves fair and not violating basic rights. So for example, the government can't just pass a law saying it's illegal for people with blue eyes to marry people with short hair. So why it matters? It protects individuals from abuse of power. It ensures the legal system is fair and transparent. It defends basic rights like free speech, privacy, and property. And it keeps the government accountable. Without due process, the government could throw people in jail, take their property, or even harm them without giving them a chance to defend themselves.
Hence why he probably won't get rid of it.
Well, he would have to repeal that in the Constitution.
Yeah.
I think they're targeting of these things, these underpinnings of our democracy.
Because he would love to be able to throw us in jail for freedom of speech.
That we have to explore.
Yeah. So yet, despite all of what I just read, y'all, this is what is being reported. They're going after U.S. citizens or just people on this soil in general without due process. So they're literally throwing people out of this country without the due process. It's blatantly illegal, and it's not just against the law, it's against the Constitution, which in my view makes it illegal. So
It's double illegal.
y'all got
To
any more
just
thoughts on that?
Walk away from the Constitution. It's just President Washington and the other founding fathers are just turning in their grave. They tried their very best to shield us from a rogue president.
They couldn't anticipate
And
somebody
here
like
we
this,
are with a rogue president. And there ain't shit we could do unless y'all give the Democrats the biggest fucking majority they have ever
Absolutely.
had.
That's the only
We
way
need
to remedy
to
this.
sweep the Senate elections in order to get to 67 senators. That is what we need. 67 senators and 290 members of Congress. And we also need the state legislatures. We need those in order to add amendments to stop a president from seeking a third term like what this bitch is trying to do. To stop presidents from acting this way. To rebuff our... Is that the right word, rebuff? Make them stronger. The amendments that's already there so that people don't violate them.
Yeah. So I think the thing, before moving to the next topic, the thing for me that I think the point that needs to be driven home is that the power is in our hands. Like I said on the last episode, if the American people was one person, look at how powerful that person would be. So
if we move as one, we can be powerful like that.
I don't care if you live in Wyoming, Idaho, Montana, Kansas, Oklahoma. I don't care if you live in Amarillo, Texas. Vote Don't think that your vote doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It does.
Because if
It
people
don't matter
had
if
voted
one
who didn't
person
vote, we wouldn't be sitting
is the tiebreaker.
in this situation
Right.
right now.
It don't matter if one person is the tiebreaker in the state of Wyoming. That state will be blue if that one vote that pushes it over 50%.
Mm-hmm.
It would be blue. And that's all we need. It don't matter. You don't need to win by 200,000 votes in order to get a senator elected. One vote would do it. One extra vote would do it. Vote like your vote is a tiebreaker, because it could be. It very well could be.
Right.
Just look at little old Louisiana. We swatted them amendments down.
Right.
Uh-huh. And now they talk about trying to reword them and bring them back. So democracy.
And I hate the way they try to slide stuff in.
Mm-hmm. That's the only way
You
they're
know
going
what
to
I
get
mean?
it
Way they
passed.
could do it.
So
Because
you can't just show up one
inside
day.
those
You gotta keep
amendments, it
showing
would
up.
have
You gotta keep
allowed
showing
them to do something, make youth be able to go to adult prisons.
Be tried as an adult
The fuck?
for more than
This is the coded language that they use in these.
So a 15-year-old
Amendments.
should be in the same prison with a...
a 25-year-old.
No, they would most assuredly be abused.
Like, oh my God. They are sadistic individuals. I can't stand that damn party.
So now, moving on to a lighter topic. Let's talk about Jeff Bezos and his rocket. So, should we really have left space up to the private sector, y'all?
No.
This
No.
article detailing the Jeff Bezos rocket debacle starts with, and it's a Verge article, by the way. It starts with, doubtless you know the contours already. Jeff Bezos' fiancee, Lauren Sanchez, pop star Katy Perry, and 4 other women did a big space tourism trip in the name of performative femiladyism, wearing spacesuits cut so as to require a pair of Spanx underneath. We're going to have lash extensions flying in the capsule, Sanchez said. We're going to put the ass in astronaut, Perry said.
I know you lying.
This promised to be a marketing bonanza for a nation addled by spectacle. What has happened instead has been a shocking amount of backlash. TikToks mocking Katy Perry's feigned enthusiasm for astronomy and astrology. Suggestions the entire trip was fake. Video footage of what appears to be Bezos literally falling on his face in Texas. Did Bezos even really open the capsule door? Proclamations that the flight showcased the utter defeat of American feminism. Social media debates about whether the women aboard were passengers or crew. The article goes on to say the power of private spaceflight outfits like Blue Origin is a policy failure, and it's an increasingly dangerous one. Once upon a time, the United States didn't need to rely on the unstable rich to get astronauts to space.
Right.
NASA built its own rockets. But after a series of Republican budget cuts, some libertarian dim bulbs came up with the idea for the Commercial Crew Program, which awarded contracts in 2014. The rhetoric was that it would be lower cost for someone other than NASA to build NASA's rockets. In any event, after the retirement of the space shuttle in 2011, NASA had no means of sending astronauts to space on its own.
Well, that's just a...
I remember how
Failure.
proud we used to be of NASA. You know, the fact that we were, it was a race between us
Russia
and Russia, yeah.
Yeah.
And, it was the race to space. And,
Yeah.
you would see those rockets going up and they would televise
If they
it.
wouldn't have did that,
And it
we'd
was
probably
just,
be on Mars. But no.
and it was just awesome the way, they were funding that and doing research and things were getting better. Even after that disaster, the Challenger, it blew up. They still, I wonder if that was like part of the catalyst for them wanting to defund
To
it.
go
And
private.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know,
I don't
but
know.
I don't think that privatization, they just always want to privatize
Yeah.
everything. And to me,
Well,
it's
you want
just
to
a money
privatize
grab.
stuff, but then you don't like oversee it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
There ain't no
Even
new
businesses
regulation.
who outsource things to contractors dictate to the contractor how they want the job
Mm-hmm.
done. And it's a certain level of expectation. And if you don't meet that expectation, then you're fired
Right.
and they get another contractor. So us as the American taxpayers, we're paying all of this money and y'all are just giving it away to these private corporations and you're not looking at how, what their programs are doing. And it's a waste. So the article goes on to say, how is that going? Well, Boeing stranded some astronauts, including an actual female astronaut in space when its Starliner malfunctioned. They had to be rescued from the International Space Station by SpaceX. SpaceX has been more technically successful, but that means when Musk misbehaved, whether it was by smoking weed, making unapproved launches, polluting, or whatever, there was nothing the government could really do to him. They needed his rockets too badly. I think at this point, we can all agree that the Commercial Crew program was an important failure point for the American democracy, propping up Musk's SpaceX for so long that Musk could steal Americans' most sensitive data, wreak havoc on Social Security, and use X, formerly known as Twitter, to recruit an unknown number of baby mamas.
Oh.
The fact that this is in an official article is funny.
Mm-hmm.
Blue Origin, meanwhile, has barely stayed in the running. The company has been around for 20 years now, was awarded just $25.6 million by Commercial Crew in exploratory grants. And its first heavy lift launch of the New Glenn, the kind of rocket that sends up satellites and equipment, happened in January of this year. None of its known planned launches are meant for people at all. And while the launch cadence is ambitious for a new rocket, the company is still lagging behind SpaceX, while primarily doing little jaunts to indulge Bezos and Sanchez's vanity.
Yeah, so it's like these rich men have their toys. They playing at this.
Yes.
But they playing with our dollars. Just ridiculous.
So I guess Boeing's quality on their rockets ain't much better than their planes, huh?
So apparently, more news was made when Gayle King and Katy Perry got off the rocket.
Mm-hmm.
They seem to be acting a little strange. Roll a clip, camera.
Internet is interneting. The late night shows are doing their jokes.
Yes.
People are speaking out on social media.
Yeah.
What are you doing up there? It's so much money to go to space.
Yeah.
You know,
Yes.
and there's a lot of people who can't even afford eggs.
That is the face of someone quietly cursing Oprah in her mind.
Think about how many resources went into putting these women into space. For what? I'm disgusted, literally.
What is your answer to that, or your response to the haters?
Well, you know, this is what bothers me, because I've certainly read some of the things online coming from people that I know, that I like, that I consider friends. And this is what I would say to that. Space is not an either or, it's a both and. And because you do something in space doesn't mean you're taking anything away from Earth. And what you're doing in space is trying to make things better here on Earth. What Blue Origin wants to do is take the waste here and figure out a way to put it in space to make our planet cleaner. I mean, Jeff Bezos has so many ideas, and the people that are working there are really devoted and dedicated to making our planet a better place. That's number one.
It's a who?
It's a both and, she said. Why you want to put the waste in space?
That is the fucking craziest idea I've ever
How about space
heard.
making waste?
This shit gonna come back.
What goes up must come down.
Species, or whatever you want to call us, I don't even know at this point. We
are our
fucked
own
Earth
worst
up.
enemy, right? And guess what? One day, Earth gonna shake our asses off her back like a dog shaking water.
So now you want to fucking pollute space just so that shit could fall down? We already got satellites the size of school buses falling down
Thank you,
unpredictably.
SpaceX.
Right.
Like, wasn't they?
This is crazy.
Didn't they rockets come down? I mean, they satellites come down recently.
Yeah, I think I
Yeah.
read something about how
They
they
keep
lost billions
falling.
of dollars. A lot of these satellites came down in the Caribbean.
They're
The
probably
minute
not
I get
reporting
smacked
it, but
by
I hope
satellites,
nobody
the
was
minute I'm
killed.
throwing hands.
Well, I think they said in the ocean.
Oh, it's
And I
falling.
think that when
well,
they
how they
launched
make them
them-
fall in the ocean?
I think when they launch them, they have to like put them. I could be wrong, but I think they have to put them like over the ocean.
I mean,
but
I don't expect
Don't
you to get
they
it right. This is literal rocket science.
I think. But if they orbiting,
I'm not smart
shouldn't
enough
they
to
stay in the same space? I don't know. We're not space people.
We're
so
not.
No.
We're not rocket scientists.
We're not gonna.
But what I do know is they better stay clear the fuck away from me. I know that much.
So you have the video of Katie?
Yeah, but that wasn't it for Gail.
Okay.
Number 2, have you been? Have you been? If you've been and you still feel that way after you come back, please let's have a conversation.
Nobody's been, bitch.
Bitch, I ain't got no call to get to the fucking next state over. I ain't got no license. So how the fuck I'm supposed to go to space?
Have you been?
Have you been?
You talk. Who are you talking to, Gail King?
I don't know.
How
Maybe
many
I
people?
shouldn't be
Only
surprised that
astronauts
Gail-
have been to space.
To
What,
me,
Mr. Senator Kelly wasn't he an astronaut?
to me, this is indicative of them being around a certain group of people with certain net worths, where they probably stand around and talk about, oh, what you doing this weekend? Oh, I'm going to space.
Okay.
Because that is not what the fuck we talk about.
No.
What we gonna do on the weekend?
What you doing this weekend?
Going
Oh,
to
I'm trying to
Costco.
eat. Oh, I'm trying to make money. Oh, I'm trying to fix my car.
And if I'm really lucky, I'm going to New Orleans. And I'm in Lafayette. That's 2.5 hours east.
It's crazy to me. That was
What do
just
you
so out
name
of
that?
touch.
Yeah, is that what is the name,
Have
the
you
term
been?
for that? Have you been? No, bitch. We don't have the
Obviously not.
ability to go.
Well, they cooked her on the social media.
And they should have cooked her.
Exact the
She
motherfucking
should be
league.
looking like one of them cartoon characters off Looney Tunes when you burn them up.
So that was Gail. So then Katie gets off the spaceship, and this is what Katie do.
Oh, we have to go there. Okay.
Katie!
No, ma'am. No,
So-
ma'am.
Did they really go to space?
I mean, I don't know. Again, I don't know all of the
Or
specifics.
does it just go up
But
to the
to
part
me,
where you don't even
15
break through the atmosphere?
like 15
I
minutes?
really don't-
Can you really go to space in 15 minutes? Like I need like a
A
scientist.
crash course. We need Neil deGrasse Tyson.
Yeah, we need somebody to tell us in the comments, can you really go to space in 15 minutes? But that's just too damn extra. That's extra. You gonna kiss the dirt.
Lady. Why you gonna kiss the ground?
And the crazy thing is, I like Katy Perry.
That's nasty.
I don't really listen to her music, but I like her as a person. When she performs live, I watch it. I don't fast forward.
Yeah, I loved her on Idol when she was on there, and
Yeah. And I,
I like
like
some
Gail.
of her songs.
She gonna get
But
Ebola on the monkey
They
paw.
so out of touch. Oh,
Kissing the damn ground. That's worse than kissing your dog in the mouth. That's some nasty shit.
oh boy, you about to go viral. Okay, so I guess the question. Oh wait, no. So I'm about to skip over something before I ask y'all this question. But so apparently, I think this is what sparked this whole Wendy's versus Katy Perry thing.
Mm-hmm.
So apparently, Wendy's issued. This is in Variety. Wendy's issued a statement to People magazine amid the buzz around its anti-Katy Perry post on X that asked if the singer can go back to space, aka get off Earth. The fast food chain went viral on April 14th when Perry joined Gail, Jeff Bezos, and his partner Lauren Sanchez and other women on a Blue Origin trip to space. The account Pop Crave announced Katy Perry has returned from space after the mission ended, to which Wendy's social media team replied, "Can we send her back?"
I mean, I think nobody should respond to Wendy's because they might get cooked.
Exactly.
Like,
Yeah, Wendy's
don't
is some prolific
don't mess
tweeters
with
on
Wendy's.
their social media.
Don't fuck with Wendy's.
So
For
people,
Wendy's could have been a feature on Not Like Us.
nah, yeah. So you mean Wendy's could have doubled on and double cooked Drake? Mm-hmm. Okay, so people is running a story about how Wendy's should apologize to Perry, with one source telling the magazine this was $1 billion brand using its platform to publicly demean a woman.
Oh, please.
However, the company stopped short of issuing an apology in its statement to the magazine. So Variety goes on to say, "We always bring a little spice to our socials, but Wendy's has a ton of respect for Katy Perry and her out-of-this-world talent." That was Wendy's official statement. So my question to y'all is, if given the opportunity, would you go to space?
Fuck no.
No.
Hell no.
I'm an Earthling. I'm gonna stay an Earthling
I don't.
of the New Orleans region.
Until space is quote unquote conquered, where I know it's safe to go and
To me, it
return.
still
We
won't be
don't-
safe.
we
Like
don't know
flying
who
from
the
here to
fuck out
California ain't safe.
That's what I'm saying.
Like, you
Yeah,
don't know who
apparently.
you fucking with. Going up
Flying
there.
from here to Baton Rouge ain't safe.
So I don't know. I feel like maybe they just have so much money that
They don't have
they
nothing
get
to do.
bored.
They get bored.
And I'm like,
Know what I mean, if I had that much money, I just buy a bunch of cars. That's all I do. I ain't buying no fucking space shuttle.
or do something with your money.
Yeah.
Start a cause.
Uh-huh.
Get busy. Spend your off time giving back. Like, why you going to space?
I mean, and there's nothing to say. I mean, I don't know what Katy Perry and Gail and Jeff Bezos, how much giving they do,
yeah.
But
Yeah, I guess that
just-
really wasn't a fair statement because
you
I
don't know
don't
what
really
they
know what they
right.
do. But I will say it's still crazy to me that this is what their priority is.
Have you been? No.
Duh. Nobody's been but a few people. You could probably 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on your hand.
Let's not take the
I mean, other than
RDX today. Let's take
astronauts.
the space shuttle. I feel like going to see some stars.
So, speaking about space and the satellites, and that being what his program is supposed to be doing, not doing publicity stunts
Right.
that probably cost God knows how many millions of dollars. Recently, the Trump administration has been cutting NOAA and the National Weather Service. And this is a problem that everybody in this country
Should be up in arms about.
should really be upset about, because, like, for me speaking for me, one of my biggest fears is tornadoes. Like, I don't
Me too.
when the weather get bad, I'm
Yeah,
on
like
it.
when that thunder rumbled a little while ago, we was like,
Yeah. Well, that's because I thought it was a plane crash. I didn't think it was thunder. in Trump's America.
The damn window was open, so it was extra loud. I was like, that don't sound like no normal thunder.
Yeah.
yeah, the cuts to NOAA, that's just going to make everybody less
But
safe.
again, that's going to hurt the red states more than the blue states.
Well, yeah.
Tornado
I guess.
Alley.
I guess I can see your
Tornado
point.
Alley.
Tornado Alley.
Texas, Oklahoma, Kansas, Nebraska, South Dakota, Iowa, and Missouri. All
In
red.
all of the southern states.
The only blue
hurricanes,
state is
red.
Colorado. Red states. I mean, the hurricane states, mostly red too.
Yeah.
The most vulnerable ones being Louisiana and Florida.
Yeah. Don't we know it?
Right?
So NBC had they did an article talking about this. It's titled "Meteorologists on Shaky Ground as Government Cuts Degrade Forecast." I cannot read tonight, y'all.
That was me the last episode.
So NBC reports the National Weather Service reduction in weather balloon launches meant forecasters had less data available when the central United States got hammered with hail, and tornadoes. So the storms were one of the first tests of weather forecasts during severe weather since balloon releases were cut back in places like Grand Junction, Colorado, Omaha, Nebraska, and Green Bay, Wisconsin, among other cities. Balloon launches are time-intensive tasks, and many local offices were forced to cut back after the Trump administration trimmed the size of the National Weather Service by offering early retirements and laying off some probationary workers. Last Thursday, speaking about the storms that happened on Easter weekend, April 17th, 6 tornadoes tracked across eastern Nebraska from just before 7 p.m. until just after 9 p.m. Chris Vygotsky, a meteorologist and weather balloon expert, said the National Weather Service issued the proper tornado alerts at the right time, but that additional data available only from a balloon. Oh my God. Additional data available only from balloons could have helped identify the tornado threat sooner. The forecasters in the Weather Service know what to look for on radar and other data to issue the right warnings at the right time, but having additional data that gives an indication of low-level wind shear or moisture helps give you confidence when issuing those warnings. So, with all of that being said, how does that make y'all feel? And I'm afraid at
Unsafe
this point,
and afraid.
because
Yeah.
we rely, like, soon as we hear bad weather, or like right now as we're filming this, we're about to go into 3 days of unprecedented rain.
Right.
So the first thing I'm going to do when we finish filming is go watch my local meteorologist and see what he says about
See what we need to do
what
to
we
prepare.
need to prepare, to make sure that we have enough provisions
Right.
if we get flooded, because that's what happens down here in Louisiana. So, we get rain, it floods,
and you
in your
can't go
house.
nowhere.
You can't go nowhere. So
Trucks can't get in, you can't get out.
the problem is, if we can't prepare for these things, just imagine going to work, being in rush hour, and getting hit with severe weather. We're going back to the 1800s where they think a thunderstorm is just a thunderstorm, but it's actually a hurricane. Like, lots of people will lose their lives.
Nah,
Lots of property will be damaged.
Which will make the insurance rates go.
Yes. And some people might ask, I'm sorry, Ken, I just want to say this one thing. Some people may ask, why would property be damaged? Because, okay, you're in your house, you can't move your house. But if you're out on the road in the morning and a hailstorm is coming and it was predicted, then you could have altered your travel plans and kept your car
And that's
at
when
home.
I would crash the fuck out. Don't fuck with my car. But my system was, if it's a if it's a tropical storm, category 1, category 2, I'm like, okay. Because I'm from Louisiana, I'm used to this. I'm not about to run for a damn tropical storm. But category 3 and above, that's a major hurricane. So I'm like, okay, for that, I'm leaving. Well, now, it could be a tropical storm and end up being a 3. You don't know.
You don't know because they don't have
that
the
was
stuff.
the case last year when we did have the balloon launches, because they can't predict intensification. We're just not there yet. They can't really
but now
accurately
we to the
predict
point
it.
where it could make landfall and we still won't know.
Exactly. And
now I'm like, well, shit, let me get my ass. Let me
Y'all,
skedaddly do.
And then
this is what government does.
This is what government is for.
Government is meant to
provide
do the things,
for the welfare of
its people.
There you go.
And it's meant to do things that we can't possibly do as private citizens.
I got a fucking Doppler? Where the fuck do I purchase a Doppler?
Wait off.
Do I got a fucking balloon tower?
And even if we did launch, like, I know that you could launch like personal weather balloons, I think.
They ain't as powerful as the ones the news people got.
No, not the
And
National
do
Weather
we
Service.
know how to
But
interpret the data?
Exactly. The data is what
Fuck
matters.
I look like. And you can't do that on the Mac? So what, y'all want me to go back to Windows? I don't think so.
All right, Kay, you're throwing shade at Microsoft. Okay, so
Stop doing that.
going into block 4, let's see what. Cameron, you
Cameron's
messed me
so
up
silly.
with that one.
Go back
I
to
can't
Windows.
even go forward. Oh, you got me crying. I'm crying. All right. Why is the U.S. the best country in the world? So there's been a fierce debate lately about whether we really are the best country in the world. So what do Trey do when Trey gets these questions? I go to ChatGPT.
ChatGPT. No, you got to say it right. ChatGPT. ChatGPT.
So I went to ChatGPT, and this mic is going to be the death of me tonight. Why does it keep hitting my shoulder? I went to ChatGPT and asked it what makes the United States the best country in the world, and this is what it said. A lot of people say the United States is the best because of things like our freedom and rights. The U.S. Constitution guarantees freedoms like speech, religion, and the right to protest, which aren't protected everywhere. Opportunity, the American dream, the idea that anyone, no matter their background, can succeed with hard work is a big part of why people from all over the world move here. That's a problematic statement, but we'll go with
Hard work.
We'll go with it.
Like, is that
innovation, innovation and creativity.
news to me?
From technology, think Silicon Valley, to music, movies, and culture, the United States is a powerhouse for new ideas that shape the world. Diversity. The United States is one of the most diverse countries, blending cultures, languages, and traditions from around the globe. Military and economic power. We're one of the strongest militaries and biggest economies, influencing global politics, security, and markets. Resilience and reinvention. America has gone through wars, economic crashes, civil rights movements, and each time it's adapted and pushed forward. But it's also important to say no country is perfect. People inside and outside the United States often point to the real issues like inequality, healthcare challenges, which I thought was very interesting. It was up there in ChatGPT's problem list, and political division, and more. So, thoughts?
Well, I think, I keep saying this, and I'm going to keep saying it. America is already great.
Yeah.
We don't need to be made great again. That's some code speak, but we're not going to get into that in this episode. But we are the greatest experiment that the world has ever known. So, are we the best country in the world? I would say yes, we are.
Yes, even with
the problems.
With this fuckhead in
nothing
charge.
is perfect.
No,
I still don't want to be anywhere else.
Perfect. So the next thing I have is what makes the U.S. a global superpower and what makes us vulnerable. So I feel like we're vulnerable if we continue isolating ourselves.
Because what makes us a superpower
is our global
is
leadership,
our alliances with all of our
NATO, the United Nations, the World Bank, which I wasn't aware of until I was researching for this segment. So we are a global superpower because of our money. Full stop. The U.S. dollar
currency
is sought after all over the world, y'all.
Yeah, we covered this in the last episode.
Currency of choice.
The
minute it stops being
it stops is the minute we lose our standing in the world. But the other side of that is also our military, the way it works. I studied the military. I know more about the military than the average citizen would. So I know what makes our military the best. And it's the logistics. It's the way we can get our weapons where they need to be. Russia is still using rail. We don't need to do that.
And see, Cameron says these things. I have no idea what he's talking about, but it's very intriguing.
Like, take China, for instance. China can't get their fighter jets over this country. They don't have the range to do so. And they don't have any friends where they can put their jets.
Right.
So that they can get them over. But we could launch out of South Korea. We could launch out of Japan. We could launch out of anywhere where we have friends in the area. We have a lot of friends over there. We have something. And then we got the helicarriers where we can get them closer in the water. And
the subs.
China's Navy is more powerful than ours on paper, but they can't project that power because we contain them with the first island chains. So we got Japan. We got Guam is over there, I think. We got a whole bunch of other little islands that we station our Navy at. And it keeps China blockaded, basically. And if we were to ever lose that, now China can get their vessels out and start doing shit. So our logistics and the way our military is so interconnected and the way the way we train, it's just everything about our military.
And it's taken decades to build that.
Yeah.
And if we don't keep it up, if we continue with this isolation,
If we were to pull out of NATO,
yeah,
that's it. That's ball game.
that'll,
We'd be fucked
create a
up.
vacuum.
So,
We can't fight Russia or China on our own. We need NATO.
and a lot of people don't either understand that or want to admit that.
Yeah.
So, listing all of the good stuff, we all know about the bad stuff, like the attacks on marginalized communities that's been happening recently, and the out-and-out racism that's going on, hatred, etc. So, because of this, a lot of celebrities have left the country. Some of them include Sophie Turner. She says during...
I'm not familiar with her. Who is Sophie Turner?
So, she was married to Joe Jonas.
Okay.
She says during her marriage to Joe Jonas, or they say during her marriage to Joe Jonas, Sophie Turner lived in Los Angeles and Miami, but she was homesick for the United Kingdom. After their divorce, she returned to London. She told Harper's Bazaar UK, the gun violence, Roe v. Wade being overturned, everything just kind of piled on. After the Uvalde school shooting, I knew it was time to get the fuck out of there.
Wow.
I'm so happy to be back. I never feel like myself when I'm not in London. The next,
Well, she's from there, so
But
I don't
she's a
really
Brit,
blame
though.
her.
yeah, the next person who left is Ellen DeGeneres, and we all know where Ellen is from.
Mm-hmm.
So in 2024, people reported that Ellen DeGeneres fell in love with a house in. Now y'all probably gonna flame me for this, but I cannot say the names of these places
Spell
in the
it.
UK for nothing.
Spell it.
COTSWOLDS.
Cotswolder?
Cotswolds.
Okay.
Come on,
That
Cameron. How do
place.
I say it?
What you say?
I don't fucking know.
Okay, what Trey said.
All
So
right.
she fell in love with a place over there, and that's in England?
Yeah, in the UK.
Okay.
And she moved there with her wife, Portia de Rossi.
Mm-hmm.
Her
And their children, huh?
Yeah. Her sources that spoke to The Wrap and TMZ. The couple reportedly moved abroad following the results of the 2024 presidential election. So this list was provided
Yeah,
by
because I'm
BuzzFeed.
sure as members of the LGBTQ community, they were,
Feel attacked.
Part of me understands.
or as your boy on Matches and Mascara said, legitimate qua.
Part of me understands, but then the other part of me is like, don't surrender.
Yeah.
Don't
But
run.
you have to understand, as parents, I don't know how old their children are. I'm not going to sit here and say that if y'all were still young
Yeah.
and I had the means to leave, at least for a time, I would probably, I'm not going to renounce my citizenship
Yeah.
because I see no territory there. But I may leave.
Nah,
Until it's
if
safer.
she didn't renounce her citizenship, which I hope she didn't,
I don't
then
think
fine.
she did. You can be
But-
a
So
dual
my
citizen.
question is, can you still vote
You can with a provisional ballot.
even if your address is not your primary address?
You probably can't change.
I
your
don't know.
address.
That's getting into the weeds. I really don't know. You know,
Yeah.
you don't
I
know
wouldn't
whether
change
she
my
and
address.
Portia changed their address, their permanent address from wherever they were living here in the States to over there,
Or
or
at
if
least
they're
have
just
dual
over
citizenship.
there.
Yeah, or do you even have the ability? Like, I don't think it's like moving from, Texas to California, where now in the country is, it's on record that you live in California, so you can't vote twice. Maybe like if you leave the country, you don't even have to report that. I don't know. That's
don't
something
know.
like
I-
another
I
episode.
hope
That's
I'd
some
be
rich
curious.
people stuff that we can't,
I
that we don't
hope
know nothing
that she can still
about.
vote. I don't think anybody should surrender their citizenship
Yeah,
because then
we
you're
need y'all
letting
votes.
that Tubagoo win.
But you know, I mean, it's like I said, I'm not gonna sit here and say that if I didn't have the means, if
That
my 3 sons were still like small, like I don't know how old their children are, but as a parent, this is what you think about
Yeah.
when you think about the way, and if they're part of a targeted community.
Yeah. So the next one, most notably, is Rosie O'Donnell, who relocated to Ireland. She said, "I was never someone who thought I would move to another country. That's what I decided would be best for myself and my 12-year-old child."
Mm-hmm.
And here we are. She goes on to say, "And when you know it is safe for all citizens to have equal rights there in America, then that's when we'll consider coming back. It's been heartbreaking to see what's happening politically and hard for me personally as well. The personal is political, as we all know," she said. So we know that Trump has repeatedly attacked Rosie O'Donnell. Apparently, their feud dates back 20 years, I found out. So, which shouldn't be
So
surprising.
from 2005.
Yeah.
Yeah, because Rosie was on what? What was she on at
She
the
was
time?
on The View.
Yeah.
So
and she, boy.
a 20-year feud should not be surprising for Donald Trump's thin-skinned ass.
Trump thin skin.
Trump was thin skin. No, you didn't.
But according to People, the former The View host kicked off the rift between the two when she took time during the Hot Topics segment of a 2006 episode of the show to criticize Trump for being the moral authority surrounding the controversy around Tara Conner, who was that year's winner of Miss USA and
Them
was
poor girls
accused of
at the-
partaking in underage drinking and cocaine use. So Rosie said, "He annoys me on a multitude of levels. He left the first wife, had an affair, left the second wife, had an affair, had kids both times. But he's the moral compass for 20-year-olds in America," she said.
This proves for everybody who doesn't think men can be hoes. That motherfucker is a hoe. He is the epitome of a hoe.
She said, "Donald, sit and spin, my friend. I don't enjoy him." Trump responded by calling O'Donnell a, quote, "woman out of control." In an interview,
She can't be a person out of control.
A woman out of control.
She can't be a person out of control. It's a woman.
No.
It's like what you want women in. You want to control
That's
women.
so sexist.
There you go. You said
So
it.
Can we control him and put him somewhere?
So in an interview with People, and their feud, that's what he told them in an interview with People.
Mm-hmm.
And their feud has continued since, with the now president calling the former talk show host out on social media multiple times.
She must be living rent free in his head.
Apparently she is.
So the article goes on to say, after he was elected, O'Donnell admitted in an interview with W Magazine in October 2017 that she worried whether she would be able to, quote, live through his presidency. "It has taken me a full year to integrate the reality of him being president in a way that I don't come across as either so full of rage that no one can hear my words or so sad that I can't articulate the level of pain," she said. "It's taken a year for me to get my equilibrium back, to come back to the surface." O'Donnell continued, "I seriously worry whether I personally will be able to live through his presidency and whether the nation will be able to live through it and survive. It's a terrifying concept on the brink of nuclear war with a madman in charge." So, I got two questions.
Just don't renounce your citizenship. That's all I ask.
Two questions. One, is it okay for black people to have pride in this country that has such a horrific past with many issues with discrimination? And two, what do you think will happen if we keep isolating ourselves? Could that cause this country to collapse? And what would happen to the world if we did? Is there a place for us to run and hide?
No. But first question first. About black people having pride in this country. We built the motherfucker.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Exactly.
I'm not
motherfucking
seeing
Lee.
nothing.
I
Because
don't
that would
see
be a
no-
slap in the face
right.
to my ancestors.
This is my motherfucking country.
As much as it
And
is
I don't give a
anybody's.
damn how Trump and them feel about it. This is my country. You may be running the motherfucker right now, but guess what? Next go round, one of us could be running the motherfucker.
Mm-hmm.
That's the beauty of it. So enjoy your time while it
And that's the
lasts,
thing.
because we coming, bitch.
In America, the president doesn't own the country. This is not a
Again,
monarchy or whatever
we
you call
fought
it.
a
All I
war
know
so that we
is-
wouldn't have a king.
Yeah,
and
all I
now
know
some
is-
people seem to want a king.
Come January 20th, 2029, your ass is out on your ass. So, bitch, this is my country. The next president of the United States is going to be black. I'm saying it now. Because that's what needs to happen. And next president, black. Speaker of the House, Hakeem Jeffries, black. Senate Majority Leader, Cory Booker, black. Ain't that a bitch?
We ain't that a bitch yet, Cameron.
You keep trying to put us in another segment.
All right, so moving on to the next segment. We're going into FAFO. That's one of your favorite segments, right, Cameron?
Mm-hmm. Had to find my card.
Oh, you got me scared. Was we an Ain't That a Bitch? No, I don't think we were.
No,
I don't think we got an Ain't That a Bitch for this episode.
no. I was just saying that because it
Now
was
you done
funny.
made us have one. All right, so going into FAFO, this week we're talking about the Glaze Olympics. Mama probably don't know what glaze means.
No, I don't know what that means. What does
It's
glaze
like-
mean?
It's this generation's version of ass kissing.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Instead of
you glaze
saying
a
y'all
donut?
blowing smoke up his ass, you say y'all glazing it.
Oh, okay. Mm-hmm.
And it might be another version of it that's dirtier, but I'm not gonna even try to figure that one out. But anyway, moving on. So we all know how these tech CEOs lined up to kiss the ring for Trump's inaugural, showering
Bending the
him
knee.
with literally millions of dollars, so he wouldn't be mean to them over the next 4 years. So that is why this headline from CNBC really caught my eye. Corporate America shelled out millions for Trump's inauguration. Now he's upending many of their businesses. Trump's inaugural committee raised a record $239 million thanks to dozens of mega corporations that contributed to the fund. When many companies made their donations, the business community was still feeling positive about Trump's election. Months later, the mood has changed as business leaders digest the impact tariffs will have on their businesses. Now, I don't like to break in when I'm reading these articles and quoting, but why the fuck would you ever feel positive? What has Donald Trump ever done with a 4-year track record that was good for business?
Nothing.
But anyway,
Not a damn thing.
because I sure know that fucking pandemic was not good for business. So some of this year's donors, like Target, McDonald's, and Delta Airlines, hadn't contributed to an inaugural committee in more than a decade. Others, including Pfizer, Walmart, and Visa, were regular contributors, as they donated the same amounts in 2025 that they did in 2021 and 2017.
So, do y'all think that they did that because they thought he might come after them?
Definitely. And they did that because I think they had to. But I'm going to talk about that once I finish this. So the expectation was because the last administration was very, very difficult for business, according to this article.
Translation:
Wait.
Biden stopped y'all from fucking over people.
That's CNBC article.
This is CNBC saying that the Biden
But they
administration was
write-
very difficult for
No.
business. No, the fuck it wasn't. But anyway, let me make sure I read it right. The expectation was because the last administration was very, very difficult for business. Very, very difficult to engage and communicate broadly across all industries. The expectation was that this would be improved, Goldman Sachs CEO David Solomon said Tuesday on CNBC's Squawk Box.
Why was that an expectation?
There are certain things that have been put forward from a policy perspective that that don't feel in line with the expectation people had. Meta and Amazon each donated $1 million to the inaugural fund, as did Google and Apple CEO Tim Cook. Microsoft and Adobe kicked in the same amount. So did AI infrastructure players NVIDIA and Broadcom. Uber did the same. So before I move on to the FOFOing that's going on right now, the thing that really pisses me off is this notion that the Biden-Harris administration was so bad for business. How? When compared to the previous administration, you literally couldn't serve your customers because of a mismanagement of a pandemic. It cost the supply chain dearly. People were dying. People were at home sick and couldn't go to work.
Right.
That is why we literally had the inflation. But somehow Joe Biden gets blamed for this inflation that Donald Trump caused.
Right.
And Donald Trump is the one blaming him for the inflation. It's madness.
It's madness and it's maddening.
It pisses me off. And people repeat this like parrots. The Biden inflation.
It's not.
I'm voting for Trump because
It's
my
the
groceries
Trump
are
inflation.
high. Well, how high are your fucking groceries now? And do we really think these eggs are really going to come down with RFK Jr. and Donald Trump pretending
hiding information about the bird flu?
La 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 la. It's ridiculous.
They're doing it again.
And you would think, people, if you make a mistake once, most people learn from the motherfucker.
No.
And don't do it again.
Robert Kennedy is telling people that they're glazing over the... They're hiding the information about the bird flu.
Yeah.
Because they don't...
Which
just
as
like
a person with an immune deficiency terrifies me. I'm literally...
Yeah, because we need to know when it eventually it's going to mutate and spread amongst humans and not just from people handling...
Yeah, and I want to know, is my food safe? These are things that government handles.
It's supposed to.
That I wasn't worried about in the Biden administration. Okay, I heard about bird flu. I didn't question whether eggs were safe because I'm if the eggs or have bird flu in them, then they're going to find that out and take them off the shelf. Well, now...
Who knows?
They ain't going to fucking do that
And then, my goodness, now they're telling people, get hens and raise your own eggs.
So everybody can fucking get the bird flu.
So everybody can get the damn bird flu. But y'all put a pin in that because we have to have a show about why they're telling people to get hens. They believe in this herd immunity thing. It's all wrapped up in this eugenic stuff. We got to talk about that too.
Yeah. So going into the FOFOing, the tech industry. The industry is now getting hammered by Wall Street on concern that a combination of higher import costs because of Trump's tariffs and reduced business spending will dramatically shrink profit margins. For Meta and Google, the primary issue is the potential for advertising budgets to dwindle. But there are other challenges that permeate the entire industry. The tech giants have been loading up on NVIDIA chips and other hardware to build out their infrastructure for the AI boom. I didn't say right, I was supposed to say A1. Those products are all subject to various tariffs.
Linda McMahon.
Particularly goods coming from China and Taiwan. While Trump said there will be an exemption for phones, computers, and chips, the administration later indicated that there would be separate tariffs for those products.
Yeah, because people like Tim Cook and Jamie Dimon, they can just go and call up the,
I wonder what them conversations are like. Do they call him and be like, what the fuck are you doing?
I don't know.
He probably wouldn't
Just
respond to that, but that's how somebody needs to talk to his ass.
Oh, my Lord. Your business upended.
Okay.
Well, I guess it does apply here. Y'all shouldn't have sucked the nigga dick for free. I mean, that's what you did. In fact, y'all paid to suck the nigga dick. Y'all paid him.
Oh my God. The cable turned off.
You should have sucked the nigga dick for free. Should have sucked the nigga dick for free. My God, the lights on.
They make me upset.
Yeah, I guess you're right. They literally paid him. So
$1 million.
I wasn't finished yet though. There's more fivefold. The retail industry was one of the only sectors that had a outlook after Trump that was elected. I'm sorry. Oh, I'm messing it up. After Trump was elected, because of the acute impact tariffs can have, not just on their supply chains, but also on consumer confidence and spending. So since Trump was elected, and even before, the NRF, the National Retail Federation, has been sounding the alarm about the impact tariffs will have on consumers and its retail members, calling the duties a tax on American families. And that's the only way you could put it. It's a tax.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So finance, that's the last FAFO, because that was for retail. In finance, the biggest players in American finance pumped more money into Trump's coffers this year than they did in previous inaugurations, while lobbying aggressively for sweeping deregulation across traditional and cryptocurrency markets. JP Morgan Chase and Goldman Sachs, the biggest U.S. retail bank and one of the most powerful Wall Street firms, respectively, each gave $1 million to the Trump inauguration, compared with nothing for Joe Biden in 2021. Capital One, which hadn't donated in the two previous election cycles, gave Trump's inaugural committee $1 million. The bank at the time was seeking approval for its $35 billion acquisition of Discover Financial, announced in early 2024, and finally greenlit last week.
What that says is
Oligarchy.
they know that the White House is open for sale.
Yes.
They know that if they cow to him, that they give him money, that he's more likely to grant whatever it was. So it's ridiculous. It's just corrupt.
Buying Discover, I don't think that's really gonna matter when Americans stop spending money because shit is so expensive.
But you put Hunter Biden in jail for supposedly selling influence because his father was the president of the United States. But to hear the president of the United States is literally being bought and paid for.
What they say the Democrats do.
They do.
It's called projection.
Yep.
So they say, well, I know I'm doing this, but you're doing it. I'm just going to say you're doing it.
And we're going to prosecute you for doing it, but we're not going to be held accountable, which it maddens me, but they never really are held accountable.
Nope.
And I have no delusions that Donald Trump or anybody in his administration is going to be held accountable for any of the shit that they have done.
Can we
in
deport
just
them?
100 days. Which, can I say this, guys? These 100 days feel like 2 years. I feel like we already 2 years into his administration.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I am exhausted, and it's just been 100 motherfucking days. So the next thing is, what do we think Trump is going to do with all of that money? So I had to look it up because I wanted to know. Obviously, his inauguration, ain't nobody showed up to the thing. He tried to use that excuse about the cold and doing it inside. So obviously you did not spend as much money as probably Joe Biden, even though Joe Biden had COVID to contend with thanks to his mismanagement, Trump's mismanagement of it. But what did you do? Like, I know you didn't spend what Barack spent in 2009. So what did you do with all of this money? So according to the New York Times, the leftover money is likely to be transferred to a committee for the eventual Trump Presidential Library. Mr. Trump's allies have now raised more than $250 million since Election Day for his political projects, including the inaugural committee and some allied outside groups. There are no limits on donations to inaugural committees, though foreign nationals are prohibited from giving. So,
but how would you know?
I would be so dangerous.
How would you know if foreign nationals was given?
How would you? And he was having trouble raising money for his library before he got reelected.
Right. I would be so dangerous as a billionaire because I would figure out every piece of land he trying to buy for his library and buy it out from under his ass. I would fucking do that shit. I'm that fucking petty to do that. I'm that fucking petty. If I had the money, I would do that.
But he's making money, in other ways, like his coin, that coin thing he's selling. He's selling access to the White House. Like, come in if you.
I think he had like $1 million dinners at Mar-a-Lago.
Yeah, and then he's getting money for the crypto business.
Right.
Mar-a-Lago. He's getting money for that crypto business. So he making money.
Yeah, I know I'm big too. I know that. But there's levels to fatness, and Trump, he fucking fat.
Most Americans fat, so whatever.
So it matters, like
I don't eat McDonald's every day.
I'll bet my future fortunes our diet is way better than Donald Trump's.
And then he wanted them with motherfuckers. I think I heard that he buys a fillet of fish. He wanted them with people.
Oh,
that eat fish from McDonald's.
Oh no,
I only eat fish out the motherfucking Gulf, or the lake, or Lake Pontchartrain.
Out the Gulf of Mexico.
Yeah.
Yes.
Gulf of Mexico.
Gulf of Mexico.
But right now it's Gulf del Gringo Loco.
All right, so going into the next segment, we're talking about TikTok. So TikTok has been in the news a lot lately, and there's been a lot of misinformation. I feel it really is a smoke and mirrors game, because a lot of people now are crediting Donald Trump for saving TikTok, which is laughable to me. So bear with me, because this segment is going to be a little longer, because I got to give y'all all the receipts.
Trump can't save his pants from his diaper. Why is it shaped like that?
Karen is determined to make me not get through what I got to get through. So next episode, I'm going to make him do all this reading, because I'm not doing this shit. So
I chose violence today because I'm so fucking done.
So let's go back to September 2019, where it all started for TikTok. So the Washington Post reports that The Guardian reported. Now that's crazy. The Washington Post reports that The Guardian reported.
That's all they do is report what this one said.
I'm reporting what this one said.
That one reported.
That one reported.
And now we report.
We're reporting what this one said, that one said.
So
it's basically like, well, my friend's brother's cousin's baby sister Tracy said.
So let me start over. Pragmotiv reports that the Washington Post reports that the Guardian reports on internal documents that reportedly detail how TikTok instructs its moderators to delete or limit the reach of videos touching on topics sensitive to China, such as the 1989 Tiananmen Square protests and subsequent massacre. Tibetan.
They rolled over them people with tanks.
Oh my God.
Mm-hmm.
Tibetan independence, or the sanctioned religious group Falun Gong. Y'all, I'm going to mess this up. Like, I'm not.
Don't worry. Just do your best.
So here we go.
Be best.
Oh, hell
no.
I'm going to be worse just because you told me to be best.
She told everybody, don't bully. Well, what your husband is.
Exactly. Maybe she was talking to her husband.
Donald, be best. Nah.
So U.S. politicians, and this is in October 2019, U.S. politicians begin to raise alarm about TikTok's influence, calling for federal investigations of musical.ly acquisition and a national security probe into TikTok and other Chinese-owned apps. That investigation begins in November, according to news reports. In December 2019, the Pentagon recommends that all U.S. military personnel delete TikTok from all phones, personal and government issues. Which kind of crazy. You gonna tell me what to do on my personal phone?
If you're in the military, yeah, they will.
Well, yeah.
Because your personal phone is coming with you on the military installation.
I mean, it's a security risk, but...
So some services ban the app on military-owned phones. In January, the Pentagon bans the app from all military phones. TikTok becomes the second most downloaded app in the world, according to data from analytics firm Sensor Tower. In July 2020, India bans TikTok and dozens of other Chinese apps in response to a border clash with China. President Donald Trump says he is considering banning TikTok as retaliation for China's alleged mishandling of the COVID-19 pandemic.
Oh, kind of like yours. Your mishandling of it.
If that ain't the motherfucking pot,
that's the pot calling the damn kettle. Pot me kettle.
I want to note this in all caps, and I made sure to write it in my notes in all caps. Donald Trump was the first one to even mention the possibility of banning TikTok.
Say it again.
Donald Trump. Not Joe Biden, not Congress.
Right.
Donald Trump. So now, again, that was July 2020.
Who was president? Pop quiz. Who was president? Don't you fucking say Joe Biden. He was elected in 2020. He didn't fucking take office in 2020.
So now we skip to August 2020. Trump issues a sweeping but vague executive order. He know how to do them things, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Banning American companies from any, quote, transaction with ByteDance and its subsidiaries, including TikTok. Several days later, he issues a second order demanding that ByteDance divest itself of TikTok's U.S. operations within 90 days. Microsoft confirms it is exploring acquisition of TikTok. The deal never materializes. Neither does a similar overture from Oracle and Walmart. TikTok, meanwhile, sues the Trump administration for alleged violation of due process. Way back in the first term. And in its executive
those words
order.
again, due process.
In November 2020.
It's almost like he told y'all who he was.
Y'all didn't listen.
Y'all ain't fucking listen.
Shocker. Okay, Cameron favorite month. In November 2020, Joe Biden is elected president.
Yeah, I remember. Because right now I don't fucking like November.
He doesn't offer a new policy on TikTok and won't take office until January. But Trump's plan to force a sale of TikTok starts to unravel anyway. The Trump administration extends the deadlines it had imposed on ByteDance and TikTok and eventually lets them slide altogether. So again, Trump started this.
Mm-hmm. And then he want to blame everybody else, as usual.
Yeah.
Because his mouth always writing checks that his ass can't cash.
So in February 2021, newly sworn in President Joe Biden postpones the legal cases involving Trump's plan to ban TikTok, effectively bringing them to a halt. In June 2022, BuzzFeed reports that the China-based BuzzFeed reports in June 2022 that China-based ByteDance employees.
Was you gonna say Dyke Dance?
Yeah. Don't laugh at me. I'll make you read it. ByteDance employees have repeatedly accessed the non-public information of TikTok users based on leaked recordings from more than 80 internal TikTok meetings. TikTok responds with a vague comment touting its commitment to security that doesn't directly address the BuzzFeed report. TikTok also announces it has migrated its user data to United States servers managed by the U.S. tech firm Oracle, but that doesn't prevent fresh alarm among U.S. officials about the risk of Chinese authorities accessing U.S. user data.
Mm-hmm.
So then we go to December 2022. Then FBI Director Christopher Wray raises national security concerns about TikTok, warning that Chinese officials could manipulate the app's recommendation algorithm for influence operations. ByteDance also said it fired 4 employees who accessed data on journalists from BuzzFeed News and the Financial Times while attempting to track down leaks of confidential materials about the company. February 2023, the White House gives federal agencies 30 days to ensure TikTok is deleted from all government-issued mobile devices. Both the FBI and Federal Communications Commission warned that ByteDance could share TikTok user data with China's authoritarian government.
There's
The
that
kind of
word
government,
again.
y'all helped usher in by voting for it. Thank you.
And in March 2024, a bill to ban TikTok or force its sale to a U.S. company gathers steam in Congress. TikTok brings dozens of its creators to Washington to tell lawmakers to back off, while emphasizing changes the company has made to protect
And they
user
had all
data.
of those commercials
Yeah.
showing about, their businesses on TikTok.
So TikTok also annoys legislators by sending notifications to users urging them to speak up now or risk seeing TikTok banned. Users then flood congressional offices with calls. The House of Representatives passes the TikTok ban or sell bill.
So y'all heard from the constituents and you still fucking did it.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So in
Now-
April 2024, the Senate followed suit, sending the bill to President Biden, who then signed it. And I'm going to put a pin in that, y'all, because I was mad about him signing it. I wanted him to veto it. But I've since done some more research and learned why it was really impossible for him to veto it. But both Trump and Kamala Harris joined TikTok to campaign for president in the summer of 2024. And then in December, the president-elect asked the Supreme Court, Donald Trump, by the way, asked the Supreme Court to pause the potential TikTok ban from going into effect until his administration can pursue a political resolution to the issue. And again, he's the biggest hypocrite.
Right, because he started
You
it.
started it and then you
So
swoop
you
in like the damn
manufacture a
savior.
crisis, and then you save people from the crisis, and
Right.
now you're supposed to get credit because you're doing this, which I really feel is about to be illegal, and we're going to be coming up on a constitutional crisis in short order because of TikTok. And I'm about to say why. After I read the last thing. January 2025, Supreme Court unanimously upheld the federal law banning TikTok and beginning January 19th, unless it's sold by its China-based parent company, holding that the risk to national security posed by its ties to China overcomes concerns about limiting speech by the app. A ban is set to go into effect on January 19, 2025. TikTok users in the United States were prevented from watching videos on the popular social media app just hours before the federal ban was set to take effect. A law banning TikTok has been enacted in the U.S., a message said on the app. Unfortunately, that means you can't use TikTok for now. The company's app was also removed from prominent app stores, including the ones operated by Apple and Google, while its website told users that the short-form video platform was no longer available. So since then, Trump has extended it again for another 75 days, and according to the White House, that extends the deadline to sell the company until June 19th.
And he going to extend it again because it's all about money.
Yes, but the problem that I have with that's kind of scary, and why I feel like it's going to be a constitutional crisis, is because the law, which I don't have the exact writing in front of me, but as I remember, the law states that the president of the United States can extend it twice. So even if we're stretching it, because I say that Joe Biden extended it, because Joe Biden did tell TikTok that they didn't have to go dark that night, but they still chose to go dark for political reasons, so that they could seem like Donald Trump saved the day, possibly to curry favor with him.
Right.
So they went dark anyway, even though the president at the time told them, I'm not going to enforce these penalties. Right. Then Trump came in the same day, or the very next day, at noon, and did the same exact thing Joe Biden did. And
now
TikTok was miraculously back.
And with a message saying thank you.
Thank you,
President Trump.
Like, bitch, y'all so fucking transparent.
That was technically
the second
extension. Time, because the president of the United States is an office, not a person.
Right.
But let's just, for the sake of argument, say Biden got 2 times to extend it and Trump gets 2 times to extend it. Trump extended it twice already. that first time and now this second time.
So
So
now
at
what?
the end of this 75 days,
That's gonna be it.
It's going to have to be banned, or Congress is going to have to allow Donald Trump to openly violate federal law.
Mm-hmm.
And if they do that because of the pressure to not ban TikTok, and trust me, I use TikTok, I think more than all of us sitting here.
I'm on TikTok, but I'm not on TikTok.
So I don't want to see TikTok go away. I understand the security problems. I think that
But don't
thing,
all of the apps have security problems?
Yes, but the argument they're making is that at least we know that the security problems that Instagram has is housed in an American company and not in a company that's controlled by the China
during
government.
these past 2 election cycles,
It's as dangerous to me. But
yeah,
what I
the
would
Zuckerberg
say,
app and the other one.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So what Congress should have done is actually do some work and come up with legislation that regulates.
They don't know how to do that.
That regulates all social media companies' use of our data, not target a specific app. As an American, I'm fucking pissed off that you're telling me what I can and can't use. That's really bothering me. Like, where do we live?
Yeah.
Our government doesn't tell us you can't use this website, you can't use this app. So that's really pissing me off.
But
And
it
the
seems
double
like
thing that's
they're
pissing
trying
me
to
off
do
is
that with a lot
they
of
just
shit.
not doing work.
Right. They not, and they don't understand the technology that they're trying to legislate.
So then on top of not doing the work, they were so lazy that they did not send this TikTok bill to President Biden's desk alone. They included it in the CR that included funding for Ukraine and Israel. So if he was going to veto,
he would have had to veto
to
that
save
stuff
TikTok, he would have had to veto important aid.
And this is the stuff
to our
that
allies.
the average citizen doesn't know. They don't know what the fuck a CR is.
Exactly. Which is, again, guys, I told y'all I'm trying to elaborate on things. So y'all hear that term a lot. A CR is a continuing resolution, and that's what they use in Congress. Cameron probably could explain it a little better.
That's what they use to fund the government.
Yeah. So at this point, I don't know what we can do when it comes to TikTok.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's going to have to go away, or we're going to be in a constitutional crisis.
Yeah.
Right.
The other thing I don't like that TikTok did is that they obviously, that message tricked young people. So a lot of young people feel like Joe Biden and the Democrats took TikTok away from me and Donald Trump is saving it, when it's completely the opposite. So that's why I thought it was important for us to actually highlight this and get to the bottom of it.
Mm-hmm.
We all need to be aware of what's really going on, and don't let people pull these wool over our
Don't
heads,
let them
whatever the saying
pull a
is.
fucking fast one.
Right.
And lie to you. And I can't stand it when people lie to me. And I also can't stand it when people lie to other people. And what I really can't stand is watching people fall for it.
Yeah.
Like, please stop.
So with that, guys, that is going to do it for us today. Thank y'all so much for watching, especially for making it all the way to the end of this video or this podcast. I'm used to closing out my YouTube videos. So thank y'all for making it all the way to the end of the podcast. Don't forget to follow us on all our socials. You can find us at Pragmotiv everywhere. And visit our website, pragmotiv.com, to find out all the places you can watch, listen, and support us. You can also subscribe to get bonus content, including our bonus episodes at pragmotivplus.com. So we appreciate y'all. And until next time, remember to stay
motivated.
Peace.
Peace.